Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for a match of the Champions Cup. This one, the Bulls at home hosting Bordeaux. Now, this is going to be a tough game. And I think that both of these sides are expected to be relatively close to each other. The home field advantage of Loftus for the Bulls, plus a pretty stacked-looking side heading into this fixture. And then Bordeaux on the road. They've still got Biel, they've got Damien Pinot, Buros as the back three. Like, that is a very dangerous Bordeaux away side for this matchup. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking through, of course, at the lineups. We're going to be also checking out to see what these two sides have been up to up till this stage, and then getting into that live commentary in about 15 minutes time. But starting off with the Bulls starting lineup, Tijak Winnie in the front row alongside Aka van der Merwe and Mornay Smith will slot in as the tie head prop. Cobus Visa starting at number 4. Now, he was having some real struggles the last game that I watched of him for the Bulls, just dropping the ball consistently, which is the absolute last thing that the Bulls want for this contest, because if they don't hang on to this ball and they don't keep possession, they could really be struggling throughout this 80 minutes. JF van Heerden, though, he will be joining him in the locking duo in the loose ball trio. Mako van Staden, so a Springbok there as the number 6. Reniard Ludwig and Marcel Kutsia returns as the number 8. He will also take on the captaincy for this match as well. On the back line, Paul de Vet starts at 9 with Honbre Pollard as the 10. Now, Pollard was initially going to be making his return for the Bulls last week, but due to an injury, it did mean that he was out for that little bit longer. It was his calf that was giving him a little bit of trouble, so hopefully we'll be 100% for this contest. Sebastian de Klerk, a future Springbok, out on the left wing. Harold Foster and David Krill, they will make up the midfield with Kane and Moody out on the right, and Villy Leroux close out this Bulls starting lineup. In the starting lineup for Bordeaux, like I mentioned, there are French internationals scattered all throughout this team, although particularly in the back line, they've got Maxime Lucu, Mathieu Jalabert, also Biel Biarre, Mofana, Deportier, Pinot. It's just absolutely stacked for Bordeaux, but it's whether or not that altitude affects them a little bit in this contest. They have got Cameron Walkie in the 4-pack alongside the Aussie international and Alex Coleman, or Adam Coleman, I should say, sorry. It's a decent crowd at Loftus by the looks of it. A few people piling in for this contest. Bulls go the blue, says Roof there. And we are leaders in strumming, best rugby player ever, says Philip. And also we have good there coming the Bulls. Match the Stormers scrums, the best pack in world at the moment, says Wemma. And also the Bulls, says Samantha. And there too. But what we will quickly do, ladies and gents, is we're going to quickly look through what has already happened in this round of the Champions Cup. Now, we did recently see the matches between Sale Sharks and Glasgow. They took place on Friday night, South African time, or Saturday morning, New Zealand time. 26 points to 21 in favour of the Glasgow Warriors, and 26 was a very common winning scoreline. As we did see the Stormers get themselves the victory, 26 points to 17. That was over Bayonne for their early Champions Cup match. But there are still plenty to come. There's La Rochelle. They are going head-to-head up against Leicester. Tigers just a little bit later on. Leinster are playing the Harlequins later tonight as well. Bath and Munster going to have an absolute battle out there on the field, I'm sure. Very intriguing to know exactly how this one's going to go. The last match for the Bulls, though, it is one that they will want to forget of the URC competition. They were beaten by the Lions at Loftus, the same stadium where they play Bordeaux here. 43 points to 33. Now, the Lions never really got going in that contest, not up until the second half, though. Happy Pollard is starting, says Philip there. And yeah, those extra 2-pointers as well as the threes, having Andre Pollard out there could be absolutely massive for this Bulls side. Just talking about that bomb squad off the bench as well here for the Bulls. They have got some very handy players in there, such as Eldrick Lowe. Will be recently returning from his injury. Now, I will mention Kurtley Arendse. He was unavailable for this match due to concussion. Cameron Honeycomb, he was unavailable due to the, I believe, still his injury. He's close to coming back, though. It was Reniard Ludwig. He was the guy who played captain for the Bulls last week. So, you know, he's not the most well-known fella, but he was captain while Marcel Kutsia was away. You can do it, Bulls. This is the Box Pool Stages team in the Rugby World Cup, says Ruby Tuesday. What, with Villy Leroux as the 15? It would be a surprise, that is for sure. I know that he is one of the many players that people feel won't make it to that next World Cup. But you can do it, Bulls, says Miami Rocker. There we do still see the Bulls warming up here. From what I can see, this doesn't look like Bordeaux is still out there on the field warming up. Only the Bulls are out there at the moment running their drills. So whatever Bordeaux are doing, they might be already rearing to go. Ready for this contest, not using up extra energy that they don't have to before the match gets underway. And Fundamerva says Ruth in there. But I will mention last match for Bordeaux, they actually suffered a loss as well. That was up against Montpellier, 28 points to 24. The scoreline for that game up against Pau, they were defeated as well. And then the game before that, Castra, they were able to win it by the 2 points. One moment, I'm about to sneeze, so I will very quickly mute for a second. We are good, hopefully. Although I have been dealing with a bit of hay fever today, unfortunately, just as we get over a cold from a couple of weeks ago. Now we're back into the hay fever stuff. LaRue, Man of Steel, says Ruth, and big bench for the Bulls. Says Miami, yeah, some very handy players off of that bench to make their way onto the field. I was actually quite surprised to see Salisi Rayasi as at number 23 for Bordeaux. I knew he went overseas. He has been playing for Fiji throughout the November internationals, but he actually is going to be playing for Bordeaux in this contest, no longer with the Canes. I'm a Sharks fan. We will take anything we can get these days, even if it's temp and bowling. And also we have got their High All and Hamish, says Robert there. And also we have got their Villy, won't be in the 2027 World Cup Springbok team, says Casper. I want Bulls to win, but I feel like the Bègles will win by 12. Oh, 12 or more seems harsh. But then at the same time, the Bulls, with the way that they played last week, maybe it's not completely unreasonable. Please say hi to me, says Guy Dawes. And there's a welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. We're only 8 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest. We've also got a little bit more sevens taking place later on in the day. We have got there, who is Kasparis? Is that the bloke who loses a lot of money? It is, yes. He hasn't been picking many of the sides that have been winning. They're making donations to the bookmakers over the last little while. Well, says hi. Says Guy Dawes in there, and Heineken will be back soon. Yeah, the fact that he was named in this Champions Cup squad would make you feel like maybe there is the chance of a close return. At long last, I've been waiting all day for this commentary to start. I've been keeping cold lagers for the occasion, says Robert. But we have been live on the channel for the sevens throughout the last few hours as well. We've already finished, I believe we're up to about 5 streams on the channel for today. But it is good to see you, Robert, for this contest. It's like a decent-ish crowd in attendance. I'd definitely say it's not a sellout. Probably about 25%. And I hope you feel better, mate. Says Robert. And there. And also, I am all still 200 or 2,500 rand up. There's Casper, and here is Kiwi Lads Commentary, Rocks This Planet, and Lucky Bulls play at home. Well, the last game at home, though, they did lose, unfortunately, up against the Lions, and that was just a game where we saw the Lions play so much better throughout the 80 minutes, so, yeah, it's intriguing in terms of what is going to happen next here, because, you know, you look at this Bulls side, and on paper, they're stacked. And they're even more stacked than they were up against the Lions. The big thing was they didn't have Andre Pollard for that game. Also missing the likes of Amaka van Staden. They didn't have Kane Moody, I don't believe. Well, did they? They may have had him last week, actually, Kane Moody. I have no bets on any of the games this weekend. Good afternoon. I trust you all well, and thank you so much. Hamish Bulls by 10, says Sue. And there as well. Yeah, currently we have seen one game slip by less than 7 in this Champions Cup round of just the pool stage, and then one that was a little bit, well, not really one-sided. It was won by 8 points, and then just recently, Saracens, they were able to absolutely dominate their opposition and the contest that they had up against Clermont. I think they won that game by about 40 points, if I'm not wrong, but they are just not too far away from making their way onto the park, ladies and gents. Well, this one, what we're going to do is we're going to go Champions Cup Rugby. What was the end score in that game? Yeah, 47-10 in favour of Saracens. So that will certainly put them at the top of the table. The way that it currently sits, going to be to the wire. Says Miami Rocker. I really hope it is. It is the Champions Cup game of today that we are covering. Tomorrow we are going to be covering Toulouse versus the Sharks. Could be a pretty tough one for the Sharks. They are away from home for that fixture. That Lions game cut deep for the Bulls. They will make a statement today, says Ruby. And cheers everyone, my cousin says this chat is really wild. And thank you so much, Amos Bulls by 10. And there as well, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to put in your score predictions, as well as who you think will be scoring the first try of this contest. G'day, Sir Hamish, how's life? It's still all right. At the moment, it's currently 4:10 a.m. in New Zealand, so a nice afternoon. Or at least it is the way that our sleep schedule is at the moment. Going to be tough like a test. And Bordeaux going to win easily. So what's your score prediction in that case? So easy win over the Bulls is quite the statement, of course, seeing as they are playing away from home. And Bordeaux just recently, in their vein of form in the top 14, well, they're actually on a two-match losing streak. They lost away from home and then they lost at home up against Po on the 22nd of November. Now, that would have been without a few of their internationals in that contest. The game beforehand up against Castro, only 2 points separating them there. Louis Bielbiaré, first try, says Sean. And Bulls 32 to the 12. And last time these two played, both scored over 40. Yeah, it was an absolute thriller back in, I believe it was 2024, wasn't it? The last time these two sides met. So hopefully we get a little bit of that same in this match. The Bulls bench might be the difference. Says Miami Rocker. Yeah, some very handy options off of the bench. Gerhard Stennekamp, Wilco Low. It's going a little bit similar to what we saw for the Springboks in regards of using those players as impact players off the bench rather than starting them. Johan Robela, Ruan Nokia, Eldrick Lowe, Yandre Rudolph, Ambros Papier, and Stravino Jakob. So of that bench, you've got about 5, if not 6 Springboks in the mix there. And Eldrick Lowe, the only reason he is kind of counted as a maybe is because of the fact that he's been injured all throughout the Springbok season. But LaRue Man is still, and Louis Bielbiaré is a magic power. Well, you do see just the last-minute preparation coming here from, I believe that is actually the bench of Bordeaux. But like I said earlier on, we noticed that there were no Bordeaux players running around out there on the field. They were all in the changing sheds getting prepped and ready to go for this contest. Andre Pollard in that number 10 jersey alongside Paul Devet. It's going to be a very intriguing duo. Someone like a David Creel who went off early in the last matchup. He is now back out there for this contest as well. And Nokia Jacobs subs Bulls. And also we have got there, also the Bulls bench might be the difference. And Billy could be Iron Man now, when I think about it, Ruth. And also we've got their Bulls better hope. There's a lot of scrums, otherwise they'll be shredded by the Bordeaux backs. Says Jeremy. Yeah, it'll be intriguing, I would say, because at this point in time, the best scenario for Bordeaux is a lack of scrums and a lot of running rugby, because then that will tire out the backs who do have to go the full 80 minutes for the Bulls. Willie LaRue should retire, says Sook. Wait, so are you a Bulls supporter, Sook, but you're backing Bordeaux to beat your side badly, or are you a Bordeaux supporter who just doesn't like Willie LaRue? Which way round is it? Stennekamp, Strong Devil, with Robela and Wilco. Says Miami Rocker there. They are just showing that Champions Cup trophy. Of course, the reason that it is here in South Africa is because Bordeaux very generously took it with them to this game. They are the defending champions after getting the win over the Northampton Saints in the final just last season. 1 second, I am going to sneeze again, so I will very quickly mute once more. And like I mentioned just a little bit ago, this Bulls side, their home record as of late hasn't been as formidable as it once was. Bordeaux, they are coming off 2 losses in a row. They never find themselves in this sort of scenario, but the odds for this game are pretty much 50-50. I started following you in a few weeks. I have to say, great streaming, you know your stuff, says Michael. Thank you very much, greatly appreciated. As Pollard been dropped from the Brooks, or from the box, I assume that is. He's only 31, so there's plenty of time left. Bloody good player. Yeah, he's still going to be back in that environment. I think that there's this whole stigma around the fact that as soon as you're out of Rassi's team, you're never getting back in. But he probably has the best rotation and the best depth out of any international side. So Andre Pollard's still probably got another 25, 30, 50, 40 matches left for the Springboks. Just in this current point in time, we saw a lot more of Lebok and Sasha, but that doesn't mean that that's the way that it's going to stay. there will be certain games throughout next season that we see Andre Pollard starting and playing the full 80. It's just the way that Rossi normally rolls. But thank you very much, Philip, for your generosity once again. Now we have got there, I don't care for either team. I saw the Bulls team. I would like to change my prediction. Bulls by 15. Wait, so they went from losing by 10 to now seeing the side and you go on the 15 in favour. Is that because of that bench as well? And hi, Hamish and everyone says starts race. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well, but we are just about ready to go for this contest. The Bulls, they will be kicking off this one from left to right. And Loftus Versfeld for this game. It's a type of game that you'll want to get off to a flying start in the Champions Cup competition. Lions recently, I believe, getting themselves to win over Benetton. If they did, oh no, they lost. What? How'd they lose? They were up by like 10. I was about to say all the South African sides have found success already, but now I have to take that one back as the Lions did lose to Benetton, but we are underway for this contest and Bordeaux having the first carry up. And it is a physical one, as it is always going to be. Here comes Jalabert. Little bit of step in there coming early from Bordeaux, who make an extra maybe 30 or 40 metres more than they thought that they would have from that set piece. Now using their back line, Portier goes across now. Good back movement as well as linking up with the forwards. Another offload from Cameron Walkie. And straight away, this seems like Bordeaux are going for the tactic of running the Bulls off their feet. Portier waiting on the outside, but instead just some nice shuffling straight through the gap. Jalabert showing off his class as he moves to now 20 metres out from the line. This is an absolutely insane start to the match. There is the knock-on advantage in favour of Bordeaux, and they get themselves a penalty for offside. Maxime Luku, he was even tempted to take the quick tap there, but Tishak Vene, the man penalised for entering through the side, he's already puffing. I think that Bordeaux had a tactic here, ladies and gents. I mentioned about before the game, they had no one running around out there on the field. The Bulls were still doing their last-minute preparations. I think Bordeaux have been sitting, waiting, getting their gas tank back to just absolutely empty it at the start of this game and throw the Bulls completely off their game from the get-go. Now, whether or not that works comes down to whether this line-out of Lemouth is successful. Ready to throw it in here for Bordeaux, going to the front, finding the hands of Cameron Wookie, and ready to get this rolling maul going. A little bit of a sideways direction. There is the penalty advantage in favour of Bordeaux as well, so they can just use this one and try and get something moving. Maxime Luku goes across to Mofana, pops it in behind. Cross kick coming there nicely. Little chipped in behind. It's picked up by Villy Larue. And hopefully they tell him before he runs the full length of the field that it is going to be a penalty against Marco van Staden. And they will go back. That one not quite bouncing up the way that Bordeaux would have liked. And two men on the outside up against one Villy. And Villy did get themselves their possession there. But yeah, Tishak Vinay, he's puffing like he's played 60 minutes at this point in time. And I wonder whether or not that is just down to the way that Bordeaux got this one firing from the get-go. But, you know, I think it's a bit early to make that sub of Gerhard Stennekamp. We have got there when he learns to light a fire in this wind, and Bry, he can earn a badge. Says Philip, nicely taken again at line-out time, this time claimed by Adam Coleman, the Aussie international. This one not moving for Bordeaux. They've been told to use it once. This is when they will. Lemouth going across. Another great run forward was from Damien Pinot, but they didn't actually get the ball into his hands. And the Maxime Luku fires it across to Cameron Walkie. A lot of internationals across both of these sides. For the French side, Bordeaux, a lot of men from France. And for the South Africans, some brilliant players there. And speaking of brilliance, that is Damien Pinot, who has crossed the try line within the first 4 minutes. And Bordeaux strike early. Hello there, mate. Hello, everyone. How you doing? See Sebastian there. My illegal stream just got out. Thanks to the Rugby Gods for your great commentary. Seriously, you should be a commentator better than the guys on TV. Thank you very much. Socky is greatly appreciated. But a nice offload on the outside coming from Jalabert, and then Damien Pinot. He had no right to finish that one from as far away from the line as he was, but just spins out of the Paul de Vet challenge. Andre Pollard maybe a little bit slow reacting to that one, and Bordeaux get themselves the first points of the day. 12 weeks is a slap on the wrist. Says Waste. And Pinot, Damien, says Roof there. But now Jalabert, he is even puffing a little bit at this stage. But he does get the kick over, making the score 7-0 in favour of Bordeaux. And Jalibert has cut balls to bits 3 times. He's been phenomenal throughout the early stages of this match. Like, don't get me wrong, I knew he was an attacking 10. But this has been crazy the way that he has started this game. I don't think anyone was predicting him to have a type of moment like that. Oh, the Bulls, they have kicked that ball dead off the kickoff. So that is going to be now a scrum from the halfway line. Having both be able to be Ray and Pinot on the wings just doesn't seem fair. Oh, they're actually checking this one for the TMO. They want to check to see whether or not it's gone straight dead or whether it has hit the player. Hey, Jalibert, says Ruth. While you are doing this TMO decision, I am quickly going to look through at what happened the last time these two sides played in terms of who were the absolute standouts. Okay, it's gone dead. They're just waiting to get the angles is the comment there from the TMO. So they just want to show it on the big screen and then they will move on. And changing my prediction again, Bordeaux by 35. Geez, that's changing big time, isn't it? And come on, the Bulls, and I, Sebastian, says Philip. So we're going to see it there. Andre Pollard kicks it off just a little bit too long. And then Sebastian Leclerc tries to get his hand on it. Did it hit the Bordeaux player? I think they're saying no. Okay, they're going back for the scrum. Is the call there. Got to go back a wee way to find that game between the Bulls and Bordeaux for the Champions Cup. Seen some high scoring ones. Quarterfinals of the Champions Cup last time, or in 2023-24 season, we saw them beaten 59 points to 22. The Bulls. Which is, of course, not quite what they wanted. There we go. 46-40. It was at Loftus as well. How much is the DSTV Supersport channel subscription these days? It's quite pricey, to be fair. And the sad thing is, here in New Zealand as well, they've stopped showing the Champions and Challenge Cup on Sky Sport. So to be able to watch these games, I had to buy another subscription to the European Champions Rugby service. So I think it was about 120 New Zealand dollars to be able to cover this Champions Cup, just because of Sky no longer picking up most of those big overseas competitions. We saw it for the URC, that no one's covering that except for URC TV, so you got to buy a season pass for that one. So it's getting expensive. And come on the Bulls, you've got this, says Samantha. Around the halfway line, Maxime Luku will be able to feed this ball in. Seeing that last time that these two sides played, Marcel Kutsia actually scored the first try of the game. Now going off to the left-hand side. And Bulls is a comeback in the second half team. It's genetic, says Ruby. Well, the big thing will be not being down by too much of a margin. Well, that's too expensive, says Robert. It is, but or else we wouldn't be able to cover it. So I feel like it's one of those ones that it's just a expense that has to happen. That one's going to be slapped back to the hands of Bordeaux again. Maxime Luku going to the left-hand side. Now looking for a 50-22. It's going to be outside. About 25 metres from the line, and the Bulls now have got themselves a line out that is their own line rather than the opposition's. Leinster versus Quins predictions. Be honest, I can take it. I'll be honest. I think that the Quins, they haven't been able to do that same second half comeback stint that they had a couple years ago, which I've been quite sad about. I'm going to say 40-22 in favour of Leinster. That might be quite harsh, but I do think that Leinster will probably try and really fire here, get off to a great start in the Champions Cup. They've got some great players in their lineup. I'm going to be keeping a close eye and seeing how Rico Ioane does. Off the bench, of course. Now 6 minutes into this contest, the Bulls have been told to use it with Paul DeVette. And skull job, says Philip. It's going to be kicked high. Kanan Moody chasing after this one down towards the halfway line. Slaps it back onto the side of the Bulls for Marcel Kutsia to be able to claim it. It's a much-needed position and territory here for the home side. Oh, a little bit of a juggle there from Foster. Goes on the outside to David Krell. Tries to kick him behind Maxime Luku. Tell you what, that ball does not want to stop bouncing. Almost had to take it back himself. Ball's loose. It's put dead by Bordeaux. It's going to be a 5-metre scrum, but tell you what, there was a massive error from Bordeaux, but that ball just wanted to evade Maxime Luku. Probably a fair shout, says Sebastian, for Angus Bell last night for Ulster in the Challenge Cup, says Sean. And no EPCR on Sky TV is a sign of how many Kiwis are watching, says Studs Rugby. Yeah, there's not many Kiwis. To be honest, like a couple years ago, I think there were a few. But now it seems like a lot of people just watch the replay or the highlights. And that's the need to make a better use of the talent, says Michael. I think the starting side should put on a good show before the sub, says Philip. And this is the first opportunity for the Bulls to really show what they are all about, which is the scrums. 1 second, I'm about to sneeze, so I will quickly mute again. We are good, hopefully. And French mistake, says Ruth. And yeah, it does put the Bulls in a perfect position on the field to be able to get something going. Paul DeVette feeds the ball in. Oh, okay, Bordeaux holds strong for the first scrum. Short side, beautifully done. Sebastian de Klerk scores it in the corner, and the Bulls are back into this game. And that is just that quick fire attacking style. I do see that last time these two sides played, it's actually very back and forth, but at the end of the first half, it was 26-14 in favour of the Bulls. To be honest, cards spoil games these days, says Miami Rocker. Yeah, I mean, you look at that Stormers versus Clermont game. Even that one had a red card, a yellow card, and then 2 more yellow cards. So, like, it's getting brutal for those who don't, like, follow rugby as closely as needing to know exactly what's happening in every game. Like, some people just go, nah, I can't be bothered watching a game played with, like, cards. And come on, the Bulls. Says Lowbro's there. Now getting ready to line up this kick. It is Andre Pollard. Does strike it nicely, Pollard. Known for his kicking, and he has got that one over. Making the score 7-all after the 9 minutes. The Loftus crowd enjoying that one. So did the Bulls bench. This game so far from over. Last time that they played, 86 points in total. I don't think we're quite going to get that many again. Although, to be fair, we're ahead at the moment in terms of the scoring rate. I'd say if we get 60 points in this game, we'd be doing well. Because it's got to slow down at some point. As where the second half starts for the Bulls. Those Lion Scars need to heal in this game. Says very well. They've just knocked that ball on from the get-go for the Bulls. It was actually a double knock on. This time, Tijak Vine. Manu has dropped it. Oh no, sorry, he didn't drop it. It was Marcel Kutzia. I think he was looking straight into the sun. Mr. de Klerk. Says Miami Rocker. Yeah, that sun just seems to be at an awkward time at the moment. It is 5:30 p.m. local time. They probably want to wait another 20 or 30 minutes before that sun doesn't plague too much of a factor. This looks like an injury for Mako van Staden. That is definitely not what the Bulls want. I would laugh if the scores are in the 40s again, says Sean O'Farrell. Well, the thing is, both sides have decent defences, but they just have world-class attacks, so they just seem to be able to cut through. Who needs possession when you have Hondre, says Ruby. I was listening to Guns N' Roses knocking on heaven's door. There's Ruth, and this does look like a lower leg injury for Mako van Staden. We're going to see the replay now. Ugh, yeah. Okay, so he was just in the process of pretty much trying to evade. Just took a knock on that knee, and he did go to ground pretty much straight away. He didn't look happy about it, Van Staden. Like they've said, for him to stay down, it means that it's probably a relatively serious injury. He's getting some ice on the shin. They have got a decent-sized bench, the Bulls. They have got the 6-2 split. Pollard is a legend. Says Philip there. We have all comic heroes in Bulls team, says Ruth. But yeah, the crowd just waiting for this next play to get underway. It will be a scrum for Bordeaux. And they will be sitting about the 20 or so metres out from the Bulls line. This is when you want to strike. Get that momentum flowing. And see what you can do. All the presidents watching on. And Miami Rocker says Ruth there. Speaking of which, South Africa have been playing cricket today, haven't they? In fact, they may even be playing now, or if they finished. Maybe they've finished up against India. How did that game go? We're going to have a quick look Oh, we're not going to mention that one. 10 minutes into this game, 7 points to 7. At the moment, I say some ABC is Philip. And Pollard is in his early 30s now, right? Yeah, I think he's 31. Andre Pollard. Now Maxime Luku ready to feed this ball in for Bordeaux. And the first scrum was a successful one, you'd have to say, for this Bordeaux side. And they've got themselves a free kick here. Aka van der Merwe giving the referee the death stare as he comes up. And they lost, says Thomas. Yeah. By quite a substantial amount, unfortunately. So both wingers scored, says Miami Rocker. Yep, both guys on that far side of the field have already managed to cross the try line, and Biel is yet to touch the ball. But this could be his opportunity. He is waiting for it out on the left-hand side. Maxime Luku sending it back across to the right. 15 metres out from the line for Bordeaux. Cameron Walkie breaks through 2 tackles. Now Luku going right-hand side again, popping it in behind. Nice hands. Biel, he will score the try, and it's a winger's paradise at Loftus Versfeld for this game. I looked it up. I think so. To press now. Says Cape Tonian. Hey, I said I wasn't going to say what the score was. But yeah, it didn't go well, unfortunately. But that is a brilliant backline for Biel. Long way off his wing. And once again, just the control of this game from Jalabeur to be able to just create those chances. Again, Pollard was just there. He wasn't really looking to make a tackle. He was more so rushing up. Got into no man's land. And that's actually, I would argue, 2 defensive errors from Pollard throughout the early stages. Is it a contest? It certainly is. These two sides back and forth. And they will continue to be all throughout this game. That one is missed. Oh no, in fact, it's gone over. My apologies. That is going to make the score 14 points to 7. And we have got there. Come on the ball. Stop messing up and play properly. All you need is Moody to score, and you have all 4 wingers scoring. Yeah, how often does that happen? First 4 tries in a match being scored by 4 different wingers. Probably never, to be fair. I can't think of a time that has happened in recent memory, but it's probably happened at some stage in history. Bordeaux backline is too fast. Here's Miami Rocker. Now running this one forward. Take and run. Oh, it's still going there as well for Boris Palu. We do see Van Staden. He's been taken off for Jandre Rudolph now. They have decided to make that switch. Now Renier Ludwig making the tackle. Bordeaux thinking about shifting it, and they will do just that. Paul de Vet. I have to say, at the moment, this seems like Bordeaux have worked out perfectly how to counter rush defence. Because we see there, once again, using their back line. Oh, it was forward though, was it? Yes, it was. Forward pass from Bordeaux. They are going to go back scrum for the Bulls. And Bordeaux, France, and Nutella, good combination. There's Roof, and it looks like Van Staden already has a heavily strapped knee. He looks disappointed. This doesn't look like he's going to be able to continue in this game. Now the Bulls have got themselves another scrum and in a good attacking position on the park. Okay, I think they're just getting confirmation of those scrums. And yeah, this does not look good for Maka van Staden. So pretty much what happened initially was they strapped up his knee and they tried to keep him going in this game. But then from there, he's actually had all the strapping now taken off that knee on the sidelines. So that tells you that they're probably looking to ice it first of all, but it might be something serious for Van Staden, known for getting those steals in the breakdowns. Now the scrum happens. Holding strong again here, Bordeaux. Both front rows popping up. So it is going to be play on. Paul de Vet going across to Foster. Puts the grubber in behind. And Pinot in his in-goal area can just put that one down. And now goal line drop out as the option. Apart from Rassi Erasmus, Danny Craven was probably the best rugby coach the world has ever seen. There's Casper. Looks like the goal line drop out. The goal for Bordeaux will be to send this one long. Try and get out of their own half. Oh, in fact, no, going a little bit higher here. Going for a contestable one, beautifully taken by Villy Leroux. Here comes Jandre Rudolph. It's hard by 3 of the Bordeaux forwards. Now left-hand side again, dropping the head was Marcel Kurtzia in the breakdown, looking for the steal. Referee tells him not to go for it. De Vet going now to Villy Leroux, the switch play as they go for the cross kick. It's Renier Ludwig going up for it, nicely taken by Biel, and it's dropped by Bordeaux. It looked like a clear knock on. Carl Dixon says no. Crowd can't quite believe that one. Billy, my hero, says Philip. We have got their Bordeaux's attackers forcing the Bulls defenders to hesitate and get flat-footed. From there, backline stepping as fire. Yeah, they just seem to be rushing up the Bulls, and then as soon as they are not sure who's going to be running that ball, there's that slight moment, and then that's all that Bordeaux need. Like we've seen already, Jalibert, how many times has he broken the line in this game? It's got to be up to 3 or 4 at least here. And that's not even considering the fact that Maxime Luku's playing 9. Like, it's just an absolutely stacked side. I don't want to know what their salary for all their players is, but it's certainly not cheap. Steve Hansen's best coach in the world, not Rassi. Says short videos. Now ready to throw this one. And already 16 minutes down in this very entertaining contest. Aka van der Merwe throws it in, not straight from the Bulls. I actually say that so well. Here comes Villy Leroux. Says Ruth. Yeah, Villy, he has had the ball a couple times throughout the early stages of this contest. They tried a bit of a cross kick, which was a bit of an interesting choice. They've also tried a grubber early on here, the Bulls. So they've almost tried everything but just using the back line. And that was actually how they scored the first try, when they just shoveled it through their hands. Firstly, my best player is Dwayne Vermeulen. Says Philip. So that would have meant you were probably fingers crossed that he was going to get to play for the Box up against the Welsh, right? And Kitch had a 100% record, 14 out of 14 tests. Says Ruby. Now Maxime Luku ready to feed the ball in again at scrum time for Bordeaux. Neither side getting a decent advantage at scrum time as of yet. We've seen a free kick awarded to Bordeaux so far. Good, decent push there from the ball. Jalibert going for the kick in behind. Loose ball picked up by Marcel Kurtzia. Now Villy Leroux goes across to Sebastian de Klerk. He has got David Creel with him. Never looked for the pass though. Instead decided to keep on hitting that ball up. Flat pass. Oh, big shot coming in on Yandre Rudolph. Man, it's resilient though. He will just keep on running. Once again, the Bulls decide to kick it. Andre Pollard going in behind, trying to play the territory game. Picked up by Bordeaux. And that is a very good kick downfield. Bulls decide to take it quickly. Villy Leroux passes across now to Kane and Moody. A big shot on him. Just inside of their own half, the Bulls. We have there, the World Cup draw was a joke. We have to forever for that draw a nightmare. Draw for New Zealand, says Mornay. Ackerman is not impressive as coach. Says Miami there, trying to get the steal with a breakdown for Bordeaux. Just not quite on the ball, though. See it on the man. Mornay Smith, tackled low by Walkie. Now the vet. Looks like Pollard once again going to send this one up high. Sebastian de Klerk chasing hard, but Maxime Luku takes it nicely under the high ball, gets his knees to ground. 18 minutes through in this Champions Cup opening round fixture between Bordeaux and the Bulls. These two sides have gone back and forth. The last time that they went head-to-head, 46-40, the scoreline of that contest. This game looked like it was shaping up to be about the same. They had more tries in the early stage of this one. Oh, that's kicked out on the full from Maxime Luku. A bit of a rare mistake from the French international. Come on the Bulls, says Samantha there. The World Cup draw is too early, says Philip, and Plumtree has to go get plumbing fixed, says Ruth. Now will be the line out again. And Bulls lose today, says Adriana. And almost 80% think the Bulls are going to win. As it's just book biased, or do you not watch professional rugby? Says Gumby, I assume they're working on the theory that Bordeaux are on a 2-match losing streak. That's probably the reason behind it. We've also got, I know, a lot more South African viewers, but yeah, at the same time, the Bulls last time they played Bordeaux at Loftus, they won by 6 points. That was 2 years ago, so like it's probably not a mile off. And to be fair, the Bulls on the betting odds actually came in as favourites for this game. Now moving forward, good attack and run from JF van Huren. Now going back across to the right-hand side. And it needs to be 20 plus up at half-time. Now the Bulls shifting it away, and it is going to be a chance, and they score once again here, the Bulls. This game is just back and forth between the teams, and no one is letting up. We've already had 26 points throughout the first 19 minutes of this contest. However, 80% of viewers are Bull supporters, and too early to call it yet. And there as well, but yeah, they were under penalty advantage as well, but it went out wide. And a nice finish from Renier Ludwig in the corner to be able to get them back on track. How can I watch this game in the UK? It is on... Oh. In the UK, it might be on... See, I want to say what I think it's on, but I don't want to set you up for failure. I know that in New Zealand and Australia, it's on EPCR TV, which is the European Champions Cup, pretty much, website. In terms of the UK, I want to say it's on, like... What is it? I can't even think of the name of it. Premier Sports, that's the one. Says Sean there. And I was like, ding, ding, my bells are ringing my bell again. Says Ruth. Yeah, just a back and forth contest between these two sides. The Bulls making it 14-14. Is that trying your eyes, Hamish? Just keep your head still when you look at the TV, says Ruby. So tell me, Hamish, they took forever for that draw. Were they on steroids? No. It just, they like anything that's done through Stan Sport, they like to draw out. Pun intended. But yeah, they ended up taking a little while to get it drawn. That's another penalty, this time going the way of Bordeaux. Quick tap taken by Maxime Luku. And they have to go back as he wasn't on the mark. And can anyone ring your bell, says Philip at Flight of Pretoria. Says please and tease there. Watching from France because it's all locked behind expensive Canal Plus over here. Says Gumby, yeah, sadly here in New Zealand, it used to be on Sky. But now, like I mentioned earlier on, to be able to watch the season of the Champions Cup, we've had to pay an extra about 130 New Zealand dollars on top of what we'd normally pay for URC TV, Sky Sport, and all those other subscription ones. So it's unfortunate, but we're still going to be covering as many games as we can on the channel. Nicely taken, Cameron Walkie now going short side to set piece, Lamouth. Ooh. Okay, that was close to him getting driven into touch. What team do you follow? I am impartial in this competition, which does make it a lot of fun to watch all of these sides. I know that Bordeaux's backline is absolutely stacked. The Bulls are normally known for that physicality up front, which is why this matchup can be a very intriguing one. But Lamouth gets driven towards the side. Oh, did he get it down in time? This one's going to need a couple TMO checks. The Bulls must get the lead. Says Miami Rock. Oh, he's got it down. I think that's in the field of play for Lamouth. Bulls, you can do it. I can't handle another week at depressed people in my hometown. Says Ruby. Right, replay again. Oh no, they're going to go for a TMO check here. It seemed like they were happy enough anyway to donate to Kiwi Lads other than through YouTube. Says Studs Race. It's a good question. I think I had a PayPal at one point, but I have no idea how to use it. But I think I do have a PayPal link. Maybe. I'll see what I can find. Now, they are just going to be checking this one again. But close to the sidelines. Does this ball go down? Reasi has been doing well with Bordeaux this year. Says Gumby, yeah, he also went all right for Fiji in those international fixtures. Right, I think that's a try. The ball stop messing up and come on. And a Ruby, a Hail Pretoria. Oh, it is Tashwene, or Tashwani, says Philip. And also the Bulls 32, 28 for Bordeaux, my prediction, says Casper. And then, but they are just showing a replay again. I believe this try is going to stand. But yeah, I do see I have a PayPal link, but I don't really know how that works. Right, they're saying on-field decision was try. So due to that, I believe that they can stick with that on-field decision. I just let us know if we're actually giving you any pingers, says Studs Race. And also, they do not show the Champions Cup on DSTV. They only show 7s on the Rugby channel. The channel's also nothing, says Mornay. And Andre Pollard will probably be man of the match. If the Bulls win this, I would say it would be down to Andre Pollard's kicking. And that's actually a miss kick from Bordeaux in this case. So the score sits 19 points to 14. Oh, that was almost dropped by Mofana. Just about snuck through his bread basket. Trying to get the steal, and the Bulls do get it. Right. And now there is the choice to make. Do you go for the 3 points? or do you go for the 7 in this scenario? I think that 3 points with the tempo of this game isn't a terrible choice. Andre Pollard will slot it over 9 times out of 10, but the Bulls, they've decided they want to kick this one for the corner, going an eye for an eye for what this Bordeaux side are attempting to do. And we have got their puppy is like daddy in English. It's not in the gutter where you were looking. Says, Ruby, to be honest, I didn't even read it. I think I missed that one. But yeah, the Lions did lose to Benetton in the end. Now line out throw for Aka van der Merwe. It's going to be overthrown, but it does bounce back onto the side of the Bulls. Cleaned up by Kobus Visa before being wrestled down by Matu. Now around the side, big driving tackle on Aka van der Merwe. Scoreline at the moment in this game, 19 points to 14. And honestly, it's just been so back and forth throughout the early stages of the contest. Now Paul DeVette back across to the left-hand side. So the Lions lost to Benetton. They did, yes. In the end, the Lions were up by 10. They went on to lose that game by, I believe it was 8 points. 8 points, so they don't even get any bonuses from that game, which seems a little bit rough. Marcel Kutsia now dragged down again. What do you think of the Stormers' victory against Bayonne? Is with all those cards and 1 red. Says, Monet break to the line. Aka van der Merwe. Oh, yes. Or is it? I think it is a try for Aka van der Merwe. That sounded like the referee blew his whistle very early, almost before Aka even put that ball down. Which is why I thought maybe it wasn't going to be awarded, but Aka van der Merwe cut him through the gap. And that now means 3 tries apiece for these two sides. So they're doing exactly what they did last time they played. And it will just come down to who scores that one more try than their opposition. And 18 points to 26. So here's Bruce. Pinetown is Wild Phillip. Says, was there from Ruby? Yeah, finding that gap. Aka van der Merwe running through it with precision. My cousin, there's more action and Hamish commentary than on the TV. A wild game, says Miami. Yeah, wild game. But then to be fair, we should have expected it because these two sides did this the exact same last time they played. Back in 2023 or 24, I believe it was, for that Champions Cup season. We saw 40 points to 46. They may top that in this game, but the kick has gone over from Andre Pollard, making the score now 21 points to 19. And they are leading for the first time in this contest, the Bulls. It's just a case of everyone getting a chance to be able to score themselves a try. Maxime Luku passes across to Adam Coleman, currently round the halfway line. It's been many a wild night there. Pollard showing some skills. All you need is 1 Bulls kick missed. Then it's even. Now, Philly LaRue managing to clean that ball up for the Bulls. Paul DeVette back across to the left-hand side. Marcel Kutsia. Tackled low by Palu. Now, another pick and go. That is Kobus Visa. Looked like one of the players. I think it's Adam Coleman stays down for a little bit of time for Bordeaux. And nice Bulls keep it up. Says Miami Rocker there too. They've been told to use it. 27 minutes through. We already have 40 points in this contest. Bulls there again. Pulling it back again here, the Bulls, with Paul DeVette. Send it up high. Adam Coleman still looks like he's going a little bit slowly compared to how he started this match. Louis Biarray goes up for that ball. It's going to be a knock-on from Bordeaux. And the scrum feed now going the way of the Bulls. We have got their Wild Wild West, says Ruth. And there's one. I should mention after this game, ladies and gents, we have still got a couple other games taking place on the channel. They are sevens matches. Going to be covering New Zealand versus Fiji, as well as the contest taking place between the Blitzbox and also Great Britain. So that'll be an intriguing type of matchup happening just around the corner. And go the Bulls, says Ruth. Stormers seems like a real deal this season. 6 URC victories and 1 Champions Cup victory. Any thoughts on the Stormers? Says Mono the Grange. I know that you mentioned about them earlier on about getting the win due to their cards. But then, I mean, we also saw a couple cards for Bayonne in the end as well. But no, the Stormers are going good. And you just hope that they don't have that patch which they normally find, which is when they just seem to lose all momentum and completely play like a different side. At the moment, they've probably put enough points on the board early, though, that shouldn't affect them too much, even if they lost 2 or 3 games along the way. But yeah, they'll definitely be looking for that home final. I would be thinking. Now 28 minutes through. At the moment, Paul DeVette ready to feed the ball, and one more try for either of these sides does warrant them a bonus point in this matchup, which feels crazy to say after only 28 minutes, and the fact that if both sides score before half-time, 2 bonus points would have been secured. Before the second 40 minutes, Yandre Rudolph breaking off the back, the big man. He'll be a little bit of an unfamiliar player for a lot of these Bordeaux men. Now going for the kick in behind. Oh, Bureau smashed by Sebastian de Klerk, so they are going to go for the line out in favour of the Bulls. But de Klerk putting on that little bit of extra pressure. He did score the first try of the match for the Bulls. Win in Bayonne is very good. Their home record in recent years is fantastic. Said Studs race. And impressive from the Bulls so far, except for defence. I think that Bordeaux would probably say the same about theirs, wouldn't they? They say started well, forgot how to tackle. Evening, Aaron. Thanks for the commentary, my friend. Says, just no worries at all. And like I said, we've got plenty more coming up in the near future. We've got the Sevens, and then also tomorrow we have got Toulouse versus the Sharks that we will be covering on the channel too. That didn't look like a very straight throw from the Bulls, and that's going to be knocked on by Villy Larue. So it does give the ball to Bordeaux. Nobody can talk so much for so long. Still makes sense. It's vodka. Says Ruby, see, I feel like vodka would do the opposite though. Vodka would end up making you slur your words and well and truly have a brain fade, wouldn't it? Rather than the other way around. Pollard, yeah, just tried to hit it straight into the hands of Villy Larue, but it was slightly behind him. As Larue ended up knocking that possession on. Only 30 minutes past in what has been a thoroughly entertaining game of the Champions Cup, though. And to lose by 20, says Gumby, I think they'll probably be disappointed to only win by 20 that game to lose. And all 3 games and each of the Sevens pools games played today, they are, yes. So pretty much going into tomorrow, it will be semi-finals and then final. So only 2 games for every side tomorrow. Stormers will be strengthened with their Springboks. An important fixture next weekend against La Rochelle, says Mornay. To lose by 80, says Sean. And also, not if you practice long enough, says Ruby. I just show him there, Carlos Sadi, the front row for this Bordeaux side. He has a fair amount of idea about what these South African props do. He spent a bit of time with them. He was at the Lions, I believe, a little while ago. The French do love overseas props in the top 14, but this is going to be a scrum feed from about 15 metres out from their own line. French rugby is just so good. I wish it was popular, says Katzenel. Yeah, I do see that now there is an option for a top 14 season pass or like a monthly pass here in New Zealand, which I was considering getting, but then we've already got the Champions Cup subscription, the URC TV subscription, the Sky Sport Now subscription. So it's a bit pricey to watch the rugby from all around the world. That's going to be Maxime Luku taking the quick tap now, deciding to keep this game moving. I don't think Cobus Visa was back the 10 metres. Now moving it on one more. It goes into touch, but they'll go back for the offside advantage. They were not 10 back. Not sure if you've seen, but Plumtree has been replaced by JP Peterson, Sharks coach after tomorrow's game. Yeah, I saw that. I've seen a mixed review. In fact, I've seen it's been mostly negative, hasn't it, for JP Peterson? A lot of people have said that he was a great player, but they said he hasn't really proven himself as a coach. They had a couple other guys that they would have rather seen, but hopefully he does end up doing well because it's going to be a brutal time for the Sharks if not. I see it's quite an entertaining match. I see saw a fair so far, says Mornay. And Bulls by 20. Okay, so you're going to say they're running away with it in the second half. In that case, the Bulls, Bordeaux. The moment these two sides go on try for try. 3 tries apiece. Just the 8 minutes remaining in half number 1. The Moth throws it in. Taken by Bordeaux again. I have to say, we haven't seen a huge amount in just the most recent period of time. That's a good run forward from Palu, but we've hardly seen Jalabert. But I think that is because of the amount of attack that we've seen coming from the Bulls in the last 10 minutes or so. Oh, interception, but he was offside. I'll tell you what. Offside right out in front of the post. That's probably lucky not to be a yellow card for Akafana Murphy. He did jump the gun big time around the side of the breakdown. Right, we see there, going for the 3 by the looks of it. Or are they? That was the call from Intermac. Or sorry, not from Intermac, from Jalabert. And yep, they are going to take on the 3. In all honesty, yeah, probably Bulls by 5. Bordeaux no slouches. And also, does Damien Pinot play in today's match? He does, and he did score. The first try of the contest only took him less than 4 minutes. That's why you should sponsor Hamish and the Kiwi lads. Says Philip. Okay. Referee there has said, I don't think he was cynically offside, thank you. So that is pretty much shutting that down. Bordeaux, we're asking the question of whether or not he was up too quickly. Do fans want JP? Must say, as a Kiwi, I don't get why Plumtree keeps getting the coaching gigs, but that one has gone over, making the score now in favour of Bordeaux again, 22 points to 21. But our first sight of a 3-pointer in this game, if it does get very close in the closing moments, perhaps we could see a few more of them being used. Kicked off by Andre Pollard. Now Mofana. Big shot coming in again on Palu. In fact, that time I think it was Mathieu in that number 8 jersey. I've got the happy belated birthday from Ruby. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, I did end up going to the... Was it the first or the second? It must have been the first day of the West Indies versus New Zealand. And then came home third day because of the World Cup draw. But yeah, ended up going to the cricket with my mum. So that was quite nice. We have all the inside knowledge about what food is good at Hagley. I won't go into food too hard though, because of course we end up talking about it all throughout these live streams. And that's normally the tomorrow night's live stream. That food's the main talking point. Going off to the right hand side. Jalabert trying to pierce his way through. Passes across to Boris Palo again. Remember my latest hero, says Philip. Looks like the Black Ferns will play France in the semi-final pending this game, says Novmum. And yeah, that is one good thing about all of the games taking place for the group stages on one day. It means that you know exactly who's going to be playing tomorrow, which is quite a nice part. That's going to be the penalty to the Bulls. No clear release in the breakdown. That might have been a Harold Foster turnover there for his side. And well, Ruby, you with the bomb. Bulls need a new defensive coach. Says Miami. That is a great kick downfield from Andre Pollard as well. How do Super Chats work, Hamish? If I send Swiss francs, do you also get Swiss francs? So it will come through and say, I'm not actually sure what the abbreviation for a Swiss franc is, but it will come through and say that. The likes of this one, it is in South African rand, but then it's all converted into New Zealand dollars eventually. But yeah. It comes through as whatever currency that you use, and then it somehow goes through the magical machine of switching, which is, to be fair, quite fancy when I think about it. Now moving forward, Akafana Merva, penalty advantage at the moment for the Bulls. They're only 10 metres out from this Bordeaux line, trying to turn it into a rolling ball with 36 minutes through. I can't believe that the first half's almost over, but that's what happens when you get 6 tries. Now, back line, Andre Pollard fires it out to Kane and Moody. This is one of his first carries of the whole game. He goes down the wing and scores the try, which does mean now all 4 wingers have got themselves a try in this first half. But a great run from Kane and Moody. This game has a little bit of everything other than defence. We haven't seen too much of that as of yet. Seen a lot of penalty advantages against both sides. We've seen a lot of tries being scored. That is now the bonus point for the Bulls, which means even if they go on to lose this game, they are getting at least 1 point from this one. Yeah, Moody says Miami rocker there. And that defensive effort from Bordeaux, they'll be a bit disappointed about that. Magic from Moody, says Studs Rugby. And there as well, and go the Bulls, says Philip. Now an important kick for Andre Pollard. He has missed 0 so far today. That's probably jinxed him. Did I say all 4 wingers? Says Sean. Pollard. Yeah, he has missed that one. My apologies to Pollard there. I think I gave him the commentator's curse, but that is going to make the score 26 points to 22. Against the Springboks in the quarterfinals, a nightmare for New Zealand. New Zealand should be on the other side of the draw. Says Mornay. I like how it's a nightmare for New Zealand and not a nightmare for South Africa as well. At the end of the day, 1 or 2 are going home at that point in time. So, absolutely massive. Defence has clearly taken a day off today. Tries flying like booze at the Stag. Says 7. Oh! Right, we're going to take this one back by the sounds of it. There is a knock-on in the build-up play by the Bulls by the sounds of it. Close game, says Miami Rocker. Right, well, this one may not count against Andre Pollard, and he may still be sitting 100%, because theoretically, if this is considered no try, he's all good to go again. They are just trying to find a knock-on the ground from the Bulls. Going to see it here in the build-up. Where is that ball? Right, so Akafana has it. And he does a little shuffle on the short side. Takes the carry contact of Cameron Walkie. Where is this knock-on they speak of? It's still there. Ball goes down now. Yeah, it probably does go forward on the ground from the hands of Akafana. Considered dual streaming on TikTok. Probably not, as donations will probably get in the way. Says Captonian. I'll be honest, I don't even have TikTok. Like, there was a patch a while ago how we considered it as an option of starting up as well, but I'm very much just a YouTube kind of guy. Like, I hardly go on Instagram other than for lineups of sides. Don't really go on Facebook or any other social media like that. And such a shame, says Miami Rock. And hi, everyone. Finally, I can comment. Thank you, YouTube, says Annie. And unsure what we've had more action of, the rugby game or the live chat, says Waste. Yeah, another knock on in this case. We had a few of them throughout this contest. However, the high Annie, says Philip, and also 19 points to 22. The Blackfoots. Live chat rot, says Philip. In there. Oh. Okay. Referee. There's a Bordeaux hand in there. So Carl Dixon has actually said that Bordeaux may have been the side that did touch that ball. So for that reason, he is going to stick with his on-field decision. And he's told his TMO, no, I'm not listening to you. He's saying Australia has no chance against New Zealand in the opener. Says Mornay, no. No, I never said that, Mornay. What you said is against the Springboks in the quarterfinals, a nightmare for New Zealand. That has nothing to do with Australia. I never mentioned Australia. So we can't just be putting words in people's mouths. We have got there in 1912. The Black Fern says Nov Mum. So they would play France, wouldn't they, Nov Mum, if they win that game they're currently in. Now, Jalabert. Nicely taken by Yandre Rudolph. Tackled by Deportier. Currently, the 4 points difference between these two sides is sadly Andre Pollard does not get a re-kick in that scenario. And yes, says Nov Mum. Now this one going up high. Slapped back by Bordeaux. TikTok won't exist in 2030. Don't bother, Hamish. A bloke with a whistle makes the call. Says, studs race ball stolen here for the Bulls. Sebastian Leclerc. It's going to be a foot race. He's going to go himself, but he falls over as he was tackled by Jalabert. He just never looked like he wanted to pass that ball. It's actually not the first time in this game either. Now backline here for the Bulls between the post, and Yandre Rudolph skips in for another try to the Bulls. Jackson was inspired by Holly in the AB's Wales game. Says Gumby during the last game, and he could read comments, but unable to post. And he's Alan Hamish, says Philip. Now there's other Yandre Rudolph. Came off the bench due to the injury. A Mako fun stardom, but the Bulls, they'll have 33 points at halftime in this game. We'll have 55 points in the first half of 40 minutes. That doesn't make sense. Two sides that are normally relatively defensively sound, but it just seems like both attacks are cutting through each other like a hot knife through butter. But Yandre Rudolph does score again. Maybe it will be Bulls by 20. Says 7 Oshiki. And yes, Braxton just scored, says Novmum. Now Andre Pollard, he is sitting 3 from 4. This is not what I expected. Yeah, I thought that both sides would actually defend today, to be honest. But they haven't. You should expect when these two sides meet, chaos happens, says Sean. Just saying, because I've donoed ran 70k in gifts on TikTok. Able to dono here, says Cactonian. And I was on the Bulls bench, will finish it. Says Miami Rocker and double up after 80. And who will New Zealand play in the second round? Isn't it Spain by any chance? New Zealand playing the second. Are you talking about second round of Cape Town? Monet Lagrange, breaking through. There's a knock-on from Bordeaux, and that is going to be half-time in this contest. 33 points to 22. Okay, I think that maybe Bordeaux were trying to say that there wasn't a knock-on there. The referee does not bite. And half-time in this game. 33-22. Like I said, a 55-point first half between these two sides. And there are still plenty of time still remaining on the clock for even more points to be scored. Like, this is a full-time scoreline. Rugby World Cup, Hamish, says Mornay. So they have Chile and they have Hong Kong, China in their group. So no game up against the Spanish. Spanish in the same group as the Fijians, I believe. Let's go the Bulls. Says LFG. But yeah, second half. If it's anything near as eventful as this contest has been, for the first half, it's probably going to be an insane scoreline. We could have 100 points here between these two sides. But Pinot getting off to a flying start for the Bordeaux side. And from there, it just seems like it's kind of, I would say, fizzled out a little bit for Bordeaux. They've still had more possession throughout this half. Both sides have made 44 tackles, 6 penalties against VODACOM Bulls. TikTok's business model is fragile. Generational at best. It'll fade like bomber jackets, says Ruby. Yeah, it's still probably one that we should have at least tried to get into. Same with Instagram. Like, we've kind of probably limited ourselves a little bit, but then I kind of like it that way. At the same time, Puppy is hot, says Miami. And Johan Ackerman will be humbly grateful if the Bulls can pull this one off. Ref's taking charge, great, says Please and D's, and I prefer the attacking game instead of defence, says Philip. Yeah, like, for people who don't have a team in this scenario, like, I'm sure for Bulls supporters and Bordeaux supporters, this is a very stressful game because you just know your side's going to concede. But at the same time, as a neutral watching this type of contest, like, this is theoretically what you want. You want to see a whole heap of tries being scored. It's similar to what we see in the sevens, how, you know, you're going to witness two sides going at each other. You're probably going to see 4 or 5, if not more tries. In this case, we've had 7 tries. In fact, now we're up to 8 tries from this first half. And now for Wilco, Stennekamp and Nokia, CWLK, and attack outshining defenders across the park. What happens is players fatigue. I think as they start to fatigue, we're going to start to see the impact of the benches. The likes of, like it was mentioned, Wilco Low, Gerard Stennekamp. We didn't really see any scrum dominance from either side. The Bulls were trying to get something going, but I think Bordeaux were very strategic with how long they left that ball in. It was quick and snappy getting it out the back. It looks like the sun is pretty much gone. That was something that the Bulls had to deal with in the first half. Or at least the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes. The Bulls on fire, says Ruth. Yeah, it came down to, at this point in time, the Bulls, I believe, have scored the last 3 tries, I want to say. And that makes a big difference. In terms of confidence, Nokia is the second Matfield. I have New Zealand, top Group A in the world. Cup isn't it Spain in the second round of the World Cup, says Morne Lagrange. I assume you're talking in the round of 16. It could be. I haven't really looked into the round of 16 yet, just because there's so many variables. And I don't think you can guarantee that Spain are going to be where people think that they're going to finish. That's the other tricky part. This type of game is in Bordeaux's DNA. They're still warming up, says Jeremy. Well, they want to warm up quickly. Because just like the last time these two sides played, Bordeaux are down. But they went on to get a little bit closer to winning that game. They did pull it back quite nicely in the second 40. I'm on the end of my chair. Screaming for my team, go the Bulls. Says Samantha, will they take Pollard off? I don't think so. I don't think Pollard will be going anywhere for quite some time. Mainly because of the fact that they've only got Ambroise Papier and Stravino Jacobs off the bench. So, yeah, I'd say that Ambroise Papier will go on for Paul DeVette. Stravino Jacobs will probably go on for Harold Foster or David Krill. I don't see them taking either of the wingers off in this scenario. But they might. You know, injuries can happen. Of course, that would change the tactics a little bit. Bulls will be pleased. See, there's Ruth in there as well. We're seeing some passing going from I believe that's the Bordeaux bench. Some stacked players Making the way off of the bench for this game, Ben Tamefuna in that number 18 jersey. He will absolutely love the challenge. Scrummaging up against Gerhard Stennekamp. Tian Jacobs is there, that number 20 jersey. And then also Ryan Jansi van Vrensberg and Salisi Rayasi. A couple more handy players off of the bench as well. For the Bulls, they have got that 6-2 split. They have got about 5 Springboks to make their way off of their bench. Johan Robela, Gerhard Stennekamp, Wilco Low, Ruan Nokia, and then also Eldrick Lowe. Didn't get a lot of Springbok minutes this year due to injuries, but is still very much world class for this Bulls side. As I'm good for the Bulls, I think the high altitude will catch Bordeaux in the second half. Says Mornay. And just let the wingers score all the tries, says Sean. Or do we see both teams go defensive? I don't think so. I think that the best tactic at this stage is to just keep doing what they're doing if you're the Bulls. And I actually think that if the Bulls change their tactics to trying to stop Bordeaux and just going into a little bit of a defensive shell, I think the Bulls lose this game. I think that they have to keep on going. Because if they are able to score tries from here on out, 1-for-1 with Bordeaux, they win this game. But I just have a feeling if they took the foot off the gas and said, right, we're going to let them attack us a little bit here, that's when you can see Bordeaux score 2 or 3 tries. Ludwig is Springbok material, says Miami Rocker. Yeah, there's certainly plenty of box throughout this Bulls side. And yes, 1 each, says Please and Tease. That's why the Bulls is a second half team. Consistency or consistently, altitude, says Ruby. Yeah, they weren't quite able to use it to their advantage up against the Lions, and that is due to the Lions also playing with that altitude factor. What we're going to do here, though, ladies and gents, while we are at halftime, we're going to go to the Bulls. We're going to look at their last 5 games. So their game up against the Lions. In the second half, they scored 14 points. The Lions scored 21. That's a terrible example because they actually got outscored in that case. In the game prior to that, up against Leinster, at home for that contest, they scored a total of, it was 17 points in the second half. Leinster scored 21. Once again, terrible example because 2 in a row they've been outscored at home. We'll find one game. Osprey, surely this game. 19 points to 26. There we go. Ospreys only scored 14, whereas the Bulls in the second half scored themselves 34. So that's the type of stat that we were looking for. But yeah, not actually as prominent in the second half as you'd actually expect for the Bulls. The game up against the Sharks, it was 10 points each in the second half. The game up against Edinburgh, that was way back last year. They managed to score more points than Edinburgh second half. AS do what they're doing. And yeah, against the Ospreys, says Gumby. Yeah, I did see that one. And the Dragons were in there as well. Not a good example. And we have got there, this game was won by altitude, or by attitude, not altitude. Says Ruby. And 11 points is a good lead. Don't mess it up. Did you enjoy your 26th birthday? Did you go out? I was at the cricket for New Zealand versus West Indies. Ended up going to the first and second day. Then had to come home because of the Rugby World Cup draw. Bulls doing well. There's a stacked Bordeaux team. Says 7 Oshiki. And 9-1 split, says Philip. And there too. But second half of this contest just around the corner. Then after this game, in an hour's time, we are covering the match between New Zealand and Fiji. That is in the 7s. Taking place in Cape Town, so not too far from Loftus. And then alongside that, I've also got the game between the Blitzboks, South Africa and Great Britain. That game's going to be taking place in about an hour and a half. And that'll be one to keep an eye on too. South Africans have already qualified for the semi-finals. So they will be playing tomorrow in the 7s no matter what. We are, of course, going to be covering it on the channel as well. But what we're going to do is going to go here to the 7s. That day tomorrow for the 5th to 8th place semi-final. That will be starting at 10:44 a.m. South African time. Plenty of matches taking place, but then the final will actually be at 4:43 p.m. South African time tomorrow. In this competition, the team with the oldest age is La Rochelle, which is 29.6 years, and the team with the youngest age is Scarlets, which is 24.5 years. Says Casper. My big question is who bothered going right through and averaging out all the ages? Those people need a pay rise because that would have been a tedious old job to be able to do. And is this based off the starting lineup and reserves, Casper, or the whole squad in general? Out of curiosity, it would have to be the starting lineup and reserves, right? You'd only do it with the 23 players rather than the guys who are on the fringe and making their way in. Second half of this game at Loftus is getting very close. ChatGPT says Gumby. Well, ChatGPT needs a pay rise, even though it doesn't get paid. Because that would still take a lot of effort. And pensioners have the time. And 1,500 kilometres away, says Please and Tease. I knew that someone would pull me up on that. I didn't so much as mean that it was right next door for Loftus and Cape Town, but more so compared to us here in New Zealand, it's considered quite close for the two locations. The fact that they're in the same country playing the Sevens, unlike last week when it was in Dubai. You can't really say that that's just down the road from Loftus. We have got their Bulls must score quicker now, says Miami. So you were a Y2K problem, Hamish. If you are 26, you were a Y2K. I have no idea what that reference is at all. So maybe not. South Africa is a big country. Says Please and Tease, it is, but it is also still a country that is all the same place. You know, like I said, Dubai is not in the same country as South Africa. So with the fact that this game's taken place in South Africa and the Sevens is taking place in South Africa, they're both in South Africa. Year 2000, says Tyrone. Now, second half of this one is just about to get ready to go. I can see some movement around the tunnel. The two sides get ready to make their way onto the field. I feel like we're going to get more of what we saw in the last half. I think it's going to be all-out pace, early try for one of these two sides. It kind of has to be Bordeaux to have a decent chance. We have got the impressive from the Bulls against the top-tier team. Here's LFG. We have got their 12 hours drive from Pretoria to Cape Town. If you drive fast, there's Wild Lobster in there. And also most people in South Africa is friendly, says Miami Rocket. More chaos, says Sean. Yeah, it's about the only thing they can do for the second half, isn't it? I feel like if it goes into a little bit of a defensive battle, people might lose interest. They want to see tries, and that is what they've been seeing throughout this first half. Just looked up Top 14 Rugby TV, $10.99 a month. So I'm thinking that's US. 10-month season, $220 New Zealand dollars. Too much considering the rotation. Definitely consider getting it for the finals. Yeah, I think if I was going to get it, I'd probably get it for that 1 month where it's the quarterfinals, semi-finals, final stage. But with the fact that we've got the Champions Cup TV, URC TV, Sky Sport now, it just all is getting very pricey to watch rugby at the moment here in New Zealand. And final score, 52 points to 33, favour of the Bulls. And Bulls defence must be better in the second half. And we have got their Why Phillip. Oh no, Wild Lobster was told he was drunk by Phillip. Why was he told he was drunk? What did Phillip do? Oh no, if you're drunk. I see what's going on. He wasn't saying you're drunk, he's saying if you're drunk it would take 12 hours. A prediction 55-33 for Bordeaux. Where are you coming from? Says Please and Tease. Now we do see some of the reserves just doing a little bit of warming up as well, at least 15 hours. Says Phillip. I just have Sky Sports. That's enough money for me to spend, says Jasmine. And oops, I didn't know. I got the game for free here on Flow Rugby, says Robert. Yeah, if you've got the Champions and the Challenge Cup over there, Robert, I would absolutely recommend going for it and watching many games as you can. Leinster playing the Harlequins around the corner. It should be an intriguing one. Also, Leicester Tigers going head-to-head. That is actually the same time they will be playing La Rochelle. Those are two very good games of rugby. I'll probably watch the replays of those two throughout the day. Improving defence from the Bulls. It makes them very dangerous, as we just saw against the champions, says LFG. And yeah, it's certainly a statement to beat Bordeaux with what would be considered as one of the stronger Bordeaux sides that they can put out there. But the job's not done. 40 minutes to get it going here for the Bulls. They started getting momentum right at the end of the half. Couple tries in a row. Tell you what, some of those players look like their knees are struggling as they run out of that tunnel. Got the game on mute. Can you live? Says Robert in there. And also, if you drive with a police car, I did it. says Wild Lobster, but Sebastian Leclerc, he scored the opening try of the match for the Bulls. We saw Damien Penaud score the opening try of the match for Bordeaux. And since then, we've seen the other two wingers, Biel Biarray, as well as the try for Kanan Moody. But now ready to go. And Bulls need this win. Says Miami Rocker and South African teams are going to start overtaking the Investec Champions Cup. Says LFG. Right, ready to kick this one off. We are underway in this contest. Kicked high by Jalabert. He was tearing it up at the early stages of that first half and then kind of disappeared as the match wore on. Hi everyone, where can I watch the Champions Cup matches? International preferred, says Francis. So it's available on EPCR TV, which is the European Champions Cup website. It's also available on, I believe it's on Canal Plus, and then also Premier Sports is another option for it. Now going off to the right hand side, Cameron Walkie going to Portier, 45 metres out from the line at the moment for Bordeaux. For others to take South African team seriously, one of them has to win it. Yeah, I think that, to be fair, Champions Cup wise, they're probably due to have a South African side getting themselves far. Here comes the Portier early on. In fact, that time it was actually Jalabert with a nice flick pass on the inside from Louis Biel-Biarray. Ball goes back for him again. This seems like Bordeaux looking to start the second half just like they did the first with an early try. Now Maxime Luku going off big fin there. 22 metres out from the line. Willy Leroux decides against getting into that breakdown. Pass into the hands of Jalabert. Has a bit of a slip there. In fact, he didn't really slip his hands. His feet just completely crumbled underneath him due to the turf. Now Maxime Luku, that's going to be a penalty and a yellow card for the Bulls. David Creel goes to the bin. This is the last thing that the Bulls needed at the start of this half. Scarlets and Soul Sharks invest in young players, so when it comes to 2030, they will be more likely to win this competition. Says Casper in top-notch commentary right here. Says Vestal, thank you very much, greatly appreciated. Nice to see the French travelling to South Africa. Says Cape Tonian. And also hello Hamish and everyone. Says Regan, welcome in. But now 10 minutes in the bin for David Creel at the worst possible time, just as Bordeaux was starting to find their momentum again, and 5 metres out from the line. And it's going to be the rolling ball chance for the Bordeaux side. Going to see the replay now. It was a good clean out initially. And Maxime Luku, he passed it off. And yeah, the extended hand from David Creel. It is always going to be a yellow card in a scenario like that. And tackle balls, says Miami. Now 5 metres out from the line. Another chance to get this one moving. And this is going to be a brutal 10 minutes for David Creel. All the travel smashes South Africa teams during the season. Got to find a better travel solution with URC and EPCR. Looks like currently an injury here for Cobus Vesa, but he is back up to his feet. He looks hesitant though. So it might not be a mile away from seeing Rua Nokia make his way onto the field for the Bulls. Now thrown in by Lemouth. Goes to the front. To the hands of Cameron Wookie. It's moving sideways at the moment for Bordeaux. This one's kind of stopped now. Maxime Luku goes across to the right-hand side. Mofana, skip pass, bouncing awkwardly. Picked up by Louis Biel-Biarray. And a drop ball from Damien Penaud out in open play. And that is something you don't often see. A mistake from Penaud. And he can't quite believe it. He is frustrated too. A Creel for a Creel. I like it. That's their problem. Are they the ones that wanted to join the European competition, says Gumby. And also Try Time says Miami Rocker. And there, at least it should have been. That one, you'd back Penaud to probably take that one 99 times out of 100. But on this occasion, it's the time that he's dropped it. Does mean that the Bulls can use up a little bit more time of this yellow card as well. Cut South Africa away from Africa and ties closer to UK, says Captonian. I mean, that probably might be a bit tricky to do. But I like your thinking outside of the box. I know even half of the people in here like the stream. Smash that like button and subscribe. Says Wild Lobster, Lucky Break, says Miami. Seen double the handling errors at the moment from Bordeaux. They've had 6 compared to the 3 of the VODACOM Bulls. This ball. Oh, that's a big scrum. They've been told to play it due to the break of the bind. Now Harold Foster running this one straight. Paul de Vet goes across to Renier Ludwig into the breakdown there for Bordeaux. They win the penalty. See, that is where for the Bulls you just have to take your punishment and kick that ball downfield. And it said they tried to go for a few more phases. Themselves in a little bit of trouble. I believe once again we're going to see this side going for the corner here rather than any other option. Jalabert once again puts that ball in touch, about 7 metres out from the try line here now. A big chance for Bordeaux on attack. If they can score 2 tries during this yellow card period, and to be fair, even if they can score 1 try during this time, it could be massive. So we're seeing the double the handling errors from Bordeaux. We have seen 6 more penalties against the Bulls in this game. Lemouth slinging past. That is beautifully done. There's a loose ball picked up by Pinot. They're just waiting to find out. Oh, it's back in the field of play. Oh no, now it's held up in the in-goal area and it will be the goal line dropout. That was a bit of a tricky one there for Bordeaux. He is not happy about it, Damien Pinot. He probably should be because that was close to being a knock-on against the Bordeaux side. I think Bordeaux will score now. And this could go either way. Bulls have to be careful. Yeah, they can't afford to concede twice. They can afford to concede once, but narrowly, but definitely not twice. 6.5 minutes still remaining of that yellow card. Andre Pollard shepherding players off to the right. Getting ready to go for this goal line dropout yet again. Kicks it off high. It's close to the sideline. Nicely taken by Louis Bialbiarray. Now back across to the hands of Mathieu. Straight in the feet there. That's going to be an advantage against Marcel Coetzee. He just got himself trying to go for the jackal and then fell off his feet straight into the way. And the penalty, they will go back for it again in favour of Bordeaux. Do they want to go for the quick tap here? It looks like they will. Quickly taken. No, not on the mark. And the Bulls will be disappointed because they did actually manage to steal that ball and probably would have run away for the try had that been play on. The South African teams learn from Rassi. They strategise beforehand. Red and yellow cards won't affect them too much. And smash that mouse for por favor, Hamish. A time check says Ruby. At the moment, we are 47, or in fact 46.5 minutes through. But it is still updating for itself. At this point in time, looks like they are going to make that change. And making his way on the field, it is Rua Nokia. Coming off is Cobus Visa. They've just said 2 specialist 5s out there on the field for the VODACOM Bulls. It did seem like Cobus Visa was really struggling. He gets a bit of a handshake there from Damien Pinot. It's a nice touch from the French winger. I see taken by Adam Coleman. We also see Bureau. He has gone off the field for Salisi Reasi, the flying Fijian. The ex-Hurricanes player as well. They've been told to use it once. Not really moving forward. Oh, now it is. He's going to be held up, or is he? Yes, he is. Brilliant defence again from the Bulls. And this has to be frustrating for Bordeaux because they keep on getting close and they keep on blundering their opportunities. One moment I am about to sneeze, so I will very quickly mute once more. We are good. But now ready for this goal line dropout yet again here. Great for the Bulls, says Miami Rocket. Yeah, they are surviving at the moment. That's probably 2 or 3 times that Bordeaux should have at least had a good chance of scoring. Kane and Moody does royally knock that one on. They probably lose about 30 metres in the process, still playing their knock-on advantage, but break it up the middle. Here's Salisi Reasi. Anyone who doesn't know that man certainly will by the end of this game. He is a skilled individual, 1 metre short of the line. Bordeaux again, this time they score the try. And it's going to be the big man, Boris Palu, who does get over. And that's the try that Bordeaux needed, not just to get back into this game, but to also guarantee themselves at least 1 point from this contest. They will get the one for the 4 tries or more. They also actually end up in the scenario now of being 2 points because of being within 7. And who says Ruby in there as well. And a shame, says Miami Rocky. The Bulls were doing so well, but it was that question of how long could they survive for? And unfortunately, no longer. Great try. Is that an intentional knock on by Moody? To be fair, it did pass my mind, but I think no, because it wasn't from a pass of Bordeaux. It was just like trying to slap it back into the field of play. So I guess the only thing would have been if a Bulls player maybe grabbed it or something like that. If there was a Bulls player in front, I don't think it was anything serious. Butch James was the player under current rules. He would have got a red card in every match he played. His tackles were vicious. So here's Casper. Right. Change is about to be made. Mornay Smith making his way off. Aka van der Merwe, his way off too. So it does mean that the Bulls have decided that this is the right time to start making switches. I'll mention that kick actually missed for Bordeaux in the end, so it does remain as the score 33-27. Same with Owen Farrell. The guy can't bend to tackle. So here's 7. Now Salisi Rayasi again running up the middle. Another offload coming for the Fijian international. Bit of a handling error there from Bordeaux in the hands of Mathieu. Now kicking him behind Maxime Luku. Looking for the 50-22 and they get it as well, Bordeaux. 100 seconds remaining of that yellow card. And at this stage I mentioned how if they conceded once, the Bulls, they'll be in a little bit of trouble with their yellow card period, but if they concede twice, I said that could be the difference maker. And there's that Maxime Luku, he knew it as well. As soon as he kicked that ball, he kind of did a side shuffle. He knew it was a good one. He had that missed kick earlier on in the game, and we kicked it into touch on the full. That one was certainly not that. Now line out chance again here for this Bordeaux side. Nicely claimed. Going off to the left-hand side, Maxime Luku. Another step from Deportier. In the good old days, he's pleasing tees. And Bulls starting to doze off. Says Wenmar. Been told to use it. Now Mathieu is still down again. So far, at the moment in the second half, we have seen the 5 points for Bordeaux, 0 from the Bulls. But they have had a yellow card. Now passed on the outside, going towards the wing. Damien Pinard, no. Andre Pollard, that was a deliberate knockdown too from the Bulls. Luckily, they're just playing on for now. And to Pollard's credit, he did try and pull out of it. But it's whether or not it did touch the hand. They are still playing for now. Bordeaux, loose off though, going now to Carlos Sadie. He's dragged down by Billy LaRue. Round the neck. Right, they're going back to check this deliberate knockdown. They've just said there, Billy LaRue, he was not keen to tackle Carlos Sadie, so he decided, oh well, grab him around the neck for the sake of it. And Luca gave himself some applause after that. Says Studs Rugby. Right, I think that unfortunate as it is, Billy LaRue, Andre Pollard, I believe he has touched this ball. And if it is out extended, right, they're checking it initially for the high tackle. So it's just going to be the penalty there. In fact, they may not check this one of Andre Pollard. Maybe he didn't even get a hand to it. If he pulled out in time, it'll be a massive one for him. Are they checking for it here, though? Because it seems like at the moment we've just got the replay of the penalty, not of the chance of a deliberate knockdown. Right. TMO, I think, has maybe cleared the Pollard one, which means I don't think he got a hand to it. RWF is that prop doing? Pass the ball. Says short videos. Okay, no, they have found it now. The deliberate knockdown. This means that the Bulls will just go from having 14 on the field to staying with 14 on the field. If this is deliberately knocked down by Andre Pollard. Is it one hand extended? Yes, it is. That's going to be a yellow for Andre Pollard. Pollard did. We have got the other TMO's reflexologist now. Says Ruby. The Bulls defense says LFG. Okay, so the South African commentator is saying, is Pollard not diving for this? It hits his fingertips. Oh no, in this scenario, just the penalty. I think we're out anyway. Says Studs Rugby. That's pathetic yellow card. He was trying to catch the ball, so it is no... Oh. Wait. Yes, they did give him a yellow card. Sorry, I didn't even see them give him one in that scenario. I thought it was just going to be ruled as a penalty in that scenario. So he is now in the bin. Should have been the Bulls line out. Says Studs Rugby. And yes, he was trying to catch the ball, says Ruan. Now nicely taken there. Stolen at line out time by the Bulls. But now, ball is available for Paul DeVet. And oh dear, says Ruth. And there as well. But I believe the Bulls will be back to 14 now after the yellow card has expired of David Creel. We do see that Sadi has been taken off the field, and that is for big Ben Tamefuna, the Tongan international. And no good, says Please and Tease there. Yeah, David Creel making his way back on. So 14 on 15 now for the next 10 minutes. And this is where they have to once again try and survive. They haven't had any momentum throughout the second half. They've hardly had an attacking chance for the Bulls throughout this first 13 minutes. And the high tackle. High tackle was, like, because of the yellow card earlier, they just didn't worry about that high tackle. Villy LaRue, it would have just been a penalty against him. But either way, Bordeaux had a penalty somewhere inside of the Bulls 22. Now trying to make the most of it after losing their last line out. They have successfully retained that one. The hands of Lemouth as this one starts to move in the right direction for Bordeaux. Shuffling very quickly as it still moves. Oh, Cameron Walkie has to be careful here. He has to disconnect from that ball. They'll be dragged down just short. Trying to hang on to that ball in the breakdown was Janre Rudolph Mofana. Two-man tackle on him. Almost ended up falling the wrong way. Now, Maxime Luku. Going to Mateo again. Can't deal with another week of long faces in Pretoria for another week. Go the Bulls. Here's Ruby. Now short side, Mofana chopped down by Ruan Nokia. Maxime Luku. Both of these sides already have one bonus point, and actually 2 bonus points at the moment for Bordeaux for being within the 7 points. Ben Tamefuna gets within a couple of metres. Adam Coleman, he scored last time. These two sides played, but he's been held up again here by the Bulls. That is about the 4th or 5th time that they have been held up in this match, Bordeaux. And it is just relentless defence from the Bulls. And just that willingness to try and put the body on the line to stop the chance of scoring. Or why the Bulls think they are boxed to play with 13 men and still win. Says Wemma. Just showing there. 42 appearances for Ben Tamefuna in the Champions Cup. I know that they had Maka van Staden earlier on. I think it was 9 or 11 for him in Champions Cup appearances. So it just shows you how long Tamefuna has been around for. And now David Creel will be kicking this one off as Andre Pollard still off of the field. Nicely taken by Bordeaux. Inside of their own half. Here comes the attacking run back from Jalabeur. Passes off to the right. Now Deportier has to try and dodge that touchline. Now Maxime Luku goes across to Tamefuna. Driven backwards by Gerhard Stennekamp. Now, Damien Pinot, another offload to Deportier. He might be better off kicking this one in field, or just manages to stay in the field of play, but a forward pass from Cameron Walkie. And again, the Bulls will survive. And Creel Cannon for a foot. Says Studs Rugby and Adrian, in fact it was. They said Bulls lose. Although at the moment they are leading by 6, and they have pretty much been surviving everything that this Bordeaux side are throwing at them. It's been quite a hearty performance in the second half by the Bulls. Initially, Deportier did actually extremely well to keep that ball in the field of play. And well, what defence is Please and Tease here, just forcing the mistake. And now we get to see the big scrum in action. Gerhard Stennekamp, Johan Grubelaar, Wilco Lowe. Those 3 men ready to get some scrummaging going. We do see the change being made now. Barlow makes his way on for Lemouth. And all the other changes in the front row have already been made with Bouchard as well as Tamefuna. He is out there as well. Just the 25 minutes remaining in this fixture now. This is going to be a big push from the Bulls. This is pretty much going to be their moment to show whether or not their scrum is going to be able to dominate at the end of this game. Because if it can, they should be able to control where this game takes place. If it can't, then they have to go back to the drawing board. Is the Bulls win? Or is the Bulls' will to win? Hamish says, Mono. I mean, they are certainly digging deep in this game. And they've had to. They've had 2 yellow cards. And Push says, Ruby. Ball's going to be fed in. Oh, okay. Carl Dixon rules that as both front rows going down. And there's a knock on from Yandre Rudolph. Oh, no. Okay. They're actually going to have a reset here. So Carl Dixon kind of going back on himself there. I'm going to have another reset. But a lot of pressure in the scrums now. With Gerhard Stennekamp as well as Wilco Lowe out there on the park. The Bulls keep it together, says Ruth. Now we saw both front rows going straight down. In that scenario, I told to use it, and then Yandre Rudolph knocked it on at the back. This ref is a ball. Says short videos, I don't know why. But watching LaRue play really annoys me. The thing is, I can kind of understand where you're coming from. There's something about the way that he holds the ball or something that just seems to be a bit different to everyone else, isn't it? But it's still a very solid player, Billy LaRue, and he has got the position at the moment after that free kick is awarded to the Bulls. They'll be a little bit disappointed with that, the Bulls. They would have absolutely loved to have that as a penalty rather than the free kick. How long left on the yellow? Another 7 minutes or so remaining on that yellow card. Nicely taken by Damien Pinot. Going up the high ball with Sebastian Leclerc, got nowhere near it. Almost in the breakdown. Bulls get themselves the turnover penalty. I think that's Paul DeVette. Yes, it is who's managed to get in there, the halfback. And this could be a chance for the Bulls to extend the lead. But at the same time, I think they may go for the corner. He hasn't had a bad day. Says please and tease. Bulls losing the plot. I don't know. I think they seem more motivated now than they were at the start of this half. Right, they have given the kicking tee to David Creel. So far today, Andre Pollard here is sitting 4 from 5. If this kick goes over, it extends the lead to more than 7. He's always falling all over the place. Gives me a good laugh, says how's it? And had to do a beer run, says Philip there. And also Bulls go, says Roof. And I will mention, we have got another live stream taking place on the channel. 30 minutes from now, that is going to be the game between Fiji and New Zealand. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And then after that one, we've got South Africa versus Great Britain. But Creel strikes. It hits the post for David Creel. Louis Bielbia-Ray kicking that one downfield. Bouncing awkwardly. Oh, what a kick. That is phenomenal from Louis Bielbia-Ray. From inside of his 22, gets it down to about maybe 45 metres out from the Bulls line. We have to get there. How's your live stream feed, Hamish? Mine's not great. I had a few technical difficulties in the first half with it. And from there, second half's been better. But yeah, first half was a little bit glitchy overall. Now ready to throw it in. This one will be Johan Robelaar. Nicely taken by Ruan Nokia. And a nice rolling ball starting to shape up here for the Bulls. Bentame Furner just asking the touch judge whether or not he is all right where he is. That ball has been dropped by the Bulls and somehow comes out on the side of Bordeaux. Maxime Luku looking for the loose pass. We'll go back for another scrum. Still another few minutes remaining of that yellow card for Andre Pollard. This is again where Bordeaux, I believe if they want to win this game, they have to be in the lead at the time that the Bulls go back to 15. And around the corner says Philip. And the Bulls lose today, says Adrian. Currently up by the 6 points. If they were to score another try here, the Bulls, that would almost secure the game in their favour. So it's a bit of a tricky one at the moment. And a real kind of seesaw for these two sides. Now 20 minutes remaining. Crowd are loving the action that they have seen so far. Though they would love it a lot more if we see a couple more Bulls tries going in favour of the home team. Maxime Luku ready to feed the ball, and this is where he needs to turn up to that international level halfback. See if he can get some sort of massive move going. Rush defence, nicely handled there. Now kicked him behind. This could be dangerous. Bielbia-Ray, awkward bouncing ball. Grubbers it for one more time. Oh, he still scored it. Sebastian Leclerc tried to stop him. And Bielbia-Ray He was asking for a yellow card to de Klerk. In the end, I think that he has still managed to ground it anyway. Is this a yellow card to de Klerk? They're showing him closely here. Is he making his way from the field, or is he just disappointed? It might be that he's just disappointed with that try being scored. But he was certainly getting a little bit of the hands going on BORDEAUX. Grabbed the jersey. Try not to tackle him early. That's a clear yellow card. Says short videos trying to light a fire. Maybe I could give your cousin a lesson. Says Philip. Of course, that is Ruth's cousin that you are referring to. 10 seconds remaining of this kick here. Not a massive amount of time for Maxime Luku. But it does strike it. Does get it over. The lead is back for Bordeaux. 18 minutes left on the clock. This is when the Frenchies' lungs start burning. Says Wemara, though, we've got to remember they've been playing with 15 men, whereas the Bulls have only been playing with 14. So surely that also impacts the fatigue of this Bulls side, who have not scored any points in the second half compared to the 12 points we have seen from Bordeaux. But BORDEAUX getting his second try. DEFCON 5. Up on my shopping trip tomorrow, says Ruby. Nicely taken inside of their 22 for Bordeaux. Running this one back again as Mathieu. And definitely a good game. It's been phenomenal between these two sides. Extremely close still. Kick down the middle of the field. Mofana's been taken off for Jansi van Rensburg in the Bordeaux midfield. Now Andre Pollard has returned to the field. So now it is 15 on 15. Vili Leroux slapping it back. It's going to be play on. BORDEAUX going for the kick in behind again. Looking for a 50-22 and he's going to get it. Oh, hang on. It is a 50-22 for Bordeaux. Okay, Vili Leroux has just screamed at the referee. Carl Dixon said, you scream at me again like that, you're off. So the temper is going here for Vili Leroux as he knows that the momentum has completely moved in this matchup. We still have time for 40 points for both sides. Yeah, Carl Dixon has just clarified again. Anyone comes screaming at me again, they will leave the field. So Vili Leroux asking for the knock on. He is still yelling at Carl Dixon from a distance. Going to be checking it now. And to be fair, it did hit Maxime Luku. Okay, Carl Dixon's just saying there, we have a process. Vili doing Vili things. Right, it's going to be the scrum ball for the for the Bulls. Except they're probably extremely lucky that the referee didn't say it was going to be your scrum, but due to the player yelling, I'm going to reverse it. But that is not what Carl Dixon has done. Got probably a lot more integrity than some refs would have. A lot of them would have just said, nah, stuff you. But it's going to be the knock on. And now it is going to be the ball in favour of the Bulls. Wait, Hal says short videos. But Vili Leroux, you can see how angry he is at the moment. I would have possibly liked to see him just go over and apologise to Carl Dixon there for screaming in his face. We see there Tishak Vinny off the field for Stennekamp. That's been a sub that's been made for a long time. And the halftime chat wasn't inspiring, says Philip. And he should have marched them down the field for that nonsense, says Gumby. Yeah, like I said, the end decision was that it is a scrum to the Bulls, but some referees would have gone because of how you acted afterwards. Like, we're going to continue playing from where we are. Dixon getting soft. It's not a great look. Lots of players going to start screaming at refs now. Now off to the left-hand side, Vili Leroux going for the kick in behind. Sebastian de Klerk waiting for the bounce of the ball. It's loose. It's available there. They're going to get dragged back, Bordeaux, and it will be a 5-metre scrum. Okay, Vili up in the face of Carl Dixon again. I think he was asking for something else there, Vili Leroux. He's got to be very careful here. Like they've said, discipline has to be so key for the Bulls in this scenario. And Vili Leroux, man of iron. And streaming no problem in South Africa. Says Philip there as well, but they are in the huddle at the moment, this Bulls side. I would have given the scrum to Bordeaux for Leroux's actions. Says Sean, there was a great way to kick from Leroux in behind. They initially looked like they were going to control it, Bordeaux. And it does go into touch. However, the referee versus Iron Man. And honestly, I long for the days that real rugby where damn cards and TMO, I assume, didn't exist from Sue. And wins getting stronger. And very seldom that Billy acts like this. Therefore, we'll take it into account. I don't think he has, though, because he still awarded Leroux with the scrum. And Leroux won't apologise. He might after the game, but I don't think he will during the game. We see there the flashlights out on the phones for the Loftus crowd. They know the crucialness of this scrum. 1 point down, 15 minutes to go. And my aunt came over last night, and now I'm my own cousin. Weird, right? I don't even know what that means, and I don't even want to dissect it. Doesn't matter if it's seldom or not. He should have been marched back 10 regardless. Says Gumby, they've been told to use it there, so scrum holding strong for Bordeaux yet again. Harold Foster, 10 metres out from the line. Bordeaux will want that big interception. The Bulls will want that big break that creates a chance of scoring. We over there, don't care who the player is, don't yell at the refs. Says Studs race. And now back across to the right-hand side. Definitely with the fact that Marcel Coetzee is still on the field. Like, if anyone was going to yell at a ref, which you really shouldn't, it should at least be your captain. But even that's frowned upon, you know. But at least in that regard, they've got some sort of authority. And now Andre Pollard goes to Willie Leroux, who has dropped that ball and is picked up by Sebastian Leclerc. Maxime Luku looking for the steal. They lose about 15 metres in the process. They are back to the 22-metre line here for Gerhard Stennekamp. Now, cross kick attempted by Pollard. He hasn't got that one well. And the mark is called by Bordeaux. Like Carl knows for sure how many times Willie has done that. What a statement says Gumby. And also, Willie has more time on the field than every ref. And World Rugby, says Ruby. We have got there only going to apologise after the game. I agree, says Mornay. And before TMO, how many games won or lost over the decades? Interesting, says Cape Tonian. Looks like a bit of an injury here for one of the Bordeaux forwards. Captain shouldn't get any special treatment either. They shouldn't. But, like, if anyone was allowed to talk to a referee, like, the captain at least gets some sort of, like, once again, shouldn't yell at the ref, but you at least get a little bit more, I think, leniency because of the fact that you are supposed to be the one, like, communicating. But, yeah, in this case, Willie Leroux, I don't even think he's co-captain in this scenario. And we have got there, also come on the Bulls, says please and tease. We see a man dressed as Santa in the stands. Currently, it's the 7th of December here in New Zealand. We're almost at Christmas time already, which is a little bit insane. I'm sure the Iron Man of commentary, says Ruth. In there as well. We see there another change being made. Jacobs makes his way onto the field, and that is for Bordeaux, not the Bulls. Now, Johan Rubela, line out throw here, 40 metres out from his team's line. Well, they almost had a mismatch of numbers there from Bordeaux in the line out. Now Ambroise Papier passes it across, sling and pass, nicely handled by the Bulls. Willie Leroux goes on the outside to Sebastian Leclerc. He will be a game changer throughout the last 15 or so minutes. Marcel Coetzee hits it up, ball still there. Ambroise Papier, rush defence from Bordeaux. And in the breakdown, does he roll away enough? Yes, he does, and the penalty goes the way of the Bordeaux side. We have got their Bulls bench, make no difference at this moment. Well, I think it just comes down to the fact that Bordeaux also have a pretty big forward pack off of their bench. You know, Ben Tamefuna, like, even when he's playing for Tonga and they're up against opposition much stronger, he manages to stop a scrum from going backwards a majority of the time. So I do think that that has drastically helped Bordeaux in this match. Pichard, also a very decent scrummager. But getting locked over the ball and winning that penalty there again. Going to watch matches is more like going to watch refs and TMOs, says Sue. And obviously, Billy knows best, says Philip. Get Leroux off. Retire already, says how's it? Now ready to throw this one in. It will be Gaetan Ballot. Only 12 minutes remaining on the clock. Now, no matter how much time is remaining, there is still a chance of a comeback here. But if there is a converted try for Bordeaux right at this moment, you have to say they are sitting much more in the box seat than they were at halftime, down by 11. Another penalty advantage. in favour of Bordeaux. Maxime Luku going across into the middle of the park. Inside, Bordeaux, outside. And that will be the try for Jalibert, who thoroughly deserves a try with the way that he has been able to play. My first car was smaller than Big Ben T. And UBB bench is great. I won them the Champions Cup last season, says Suds Rugby, and that is a massive try for Bordeaux. Now extends their lead to 6 points. Easy kick for Jalibert as well. So that makes the difference 8. And for a second half that was supposedly going to be the Bulls because of the altitude, they have conceded 17 points in the time that in fact, it's even more than that, 19 points in the time that they have scored 0 throughout the second half of rugby. Well, they really woke up, says Robert there. And also knock Villy who? Villy apologise, says Casper. And now ready to line up this kick. And it goes over from Maxime Luku. 11 minutes remaining. Capetonian, respect your opinion, but my goodness, at times it is ridiculous. What did Capetonian say that was so bad? So I don't get into it because, but in this day and age, it's beneficial for some, says Capetonian. What's that for the referees and whatnot? I assume that it is. I hate to say it. I think I know what you're saying, Capetonian, maybe. Hate to say it, 12. Oh, sorry, one of Bulls win. But said Bordeaux by 12 or more, prove me wrong. It's a good kick downfield as well from the Bordeaux side. And Vive la France, says Renaud there. It's going to be the line out for the Bulls. 10 minutes remaining on the clock, and they are down by the 8 points. And minimum here for the Bulls, you need to get another point of some sort. Get themselves into a position where they receive 2 bonus points from this game rather than just the 1. And Brosse Papier going back across to Marcel Coetzee has a decent run. Told to use it for Ambroise Papier. Oh, decides against going for the kick downfield, actually deciding to go for the pass. Actually smiled after doing that, Ambroise Papier. He liked the fact that they were going for a little bit of a different set piece. Now David Creel, moving almost a little bit closer to the halfway line. We have you there, I get it completely. Says Capetonian, 2 tries for the Bulls in 5 minutes. It could happen, although this ball has been stolen by Bordeaux. Another knock on. Greetings from Derbs. Says, it was there from Dimmy. And there, that one's going to be advantage over. And I will mention we are covering the Sharks versus Toulouse game, taking place tomorrow. Good run down the wing for Kanan Moody. Louis Belbiere having a retreat. Another drop ball. And Bordeaux take it back. So it goes from a counter-attack for the Bulls, counter-attack for Bordeaux, and Salesi Rayasi showing off his skill, reaches out. Oh, that looked like he was almost half an inch short when he tried to put this one down, but he may have just got there. For someone who is normally so good on an offload, that was the one moment that he probably needed it and decided against going for it. But Salesi Rayasi. Is this the try? Right, on-field decision, checking for the try. They have said anything further back they are no longer going to check because it is too far back. But Rayasi holding it in one hand. Oh, I think that's on the line. I think that has touched the line for Salesi Rayasi. The slow-mo, they'll be hoping for separation here. The Bulls. Oh, that's such a good finish. He had to score it, though, because he had Cameron Walkie next to him. Hello and good night, says Wem Master. That is another try for Bordeaux as they start to run away with this game now. It starts to get that a little bit uglier. Let's try, says short videos. We have got there, Casper said, the thing is South African teams know how to come back from an 8-point disadvantage. What about a 15-point disadvantage? Because that is the way that this is shaping at the moment, although Maxime Luku would have to get this kick over to be able to do that. If he misses, the Bulls theoretically still 2 converted tries out of this game. And that's still, still enough. That's some great play and counter-attack. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be the Bulls scoring off a counter-attack and play. But then from there, Bordeaux countered the counter. Maxime Luku misses it away to the side. So 2 converted tries here would give the Bulls a 1-point victory. But for Bordeaux, they've got 8 minutes to try and win this game. The entropy of my shopping trip tomorrow is sky high. I may just have to delay it. I always said the Bulls to win by 20, says Gumby. Now kicking this one up high. And Kane and Moody trying to slap that one back, but it is knocked on. Ludwig is off the field for Elric Lowe. And Maxime Luku, he will put this one into touch. Oh, that's a good kick again. Every time they exit from their own half here at the moment, Bordeaux, they are absolutely nailing it. 2 silly yellows led to this. Punishment must be brutal. Says, how's it? And yeah, like, the fatigue hasn't set in for Bordeaux because they've spent all of this half pretty much attacking. Throughout this, 30 minutes or so period, they have been attacking with more men out there on the field as well. Now going across, Maxime Luku. Now into the middle, Jancy Funds Ransberg. Quick hands, that one's going to be dropped though. So it does give the Bulls the opportunity around the halfway line. Not an upset. Well, it's not an upset, Casper. Bordeaux is the better team. And also Bordeaux showing why they are European champions, says Sean. Yeah, it's certainly been an eventful game. The last time that these two sides played, it was 40 points to 46. We may actually see that scoreline again. If the Bulls manage to get themselves a converted try here, it will be identical to what we saw those couple years ago. What happened to the Bulls this year, says Mohadeen. I mean, they had some brilliant attack, don't get me wrong, throughout this game, but their defence has lost in this game as well as that discipline. Given away, I believe, about 11 penalties so far, if not more, throughout the 80 minutes. As I said at the half, it's in their DNA, says Jeremy. Now just the 6 minutes remaining on the clock now. The ball is fed in by Ambroise Papier. No scrum moving anywhere. That is also a part of the game that the Bulls haven't been able to use to their full advantage. Normally they can fall back on their scrum, get plenty of meters through that way, at least through penalties and whatnot. But in this case, Bordeaux haven't really budged, and the penalty goes the way of the Bulls. However, there are 6 is Mohadeen. I have got hay fever still. At 10 minutes, plenty of time, says Philip. And there as well. Andre Pollard. Oh, that was close to kicking that ball dead from Pollard, but it has gone out 5 meters from the Bordeaux line. There's still time for the Bulls. There absolutely is. Bordeaux needed that last conversion to go over to feel safe, because I don't think they'll be feeling anywhere near through in this match with 5 minutes to go and the Bulls on their own line. All overthrown though, the Bulls not getting their line out right. That will help Bordeaux survive. And now they can just go for that big boot downfield. Maxime Luku, he has been creating angles for fun with that kicking, and again a big old boot downfield just outside of the Bulls 22, running this one forward. Stravino Jacobs takes the 2-man contact. Thank you, Hamish. See you in the next one, says Sue Walsh. So yeah, that next game that we are covering is taking place in 12 minutes time between Fiji and New Zealand. And then alongside that, we've also got South Africa versus Great Britain in the 7s. Now, South Africa have already booked themselves a spot through to the next stage, and it's more so just the technicality. Bordeaux wanting the ball. He's got the ball, and it's another steal for Bordeaux in the breakdown. LaRue has been taken off the field for Stravino Jacobs as well. I should mention that is who Jacobs made his way on for. Big driving tackle again from the Bulls defence. In this case now, they just have to try and avoid having that points differential extend too far. If they can score themselves a converted try, it would mean that they do get themselves, ripped away. And this is the chance Ambroise Papier needs. Looks for the, that was dumb to throw that pass. Maxime Luku, counter-attack now for Bordeaux. Yandre Rudolph is going to have to try and chase him down. Offloaded on the inside. And Deportier still moving forward. That was the chance for the Bulls. They just needed to set it in the breakdown. But Ambroise Papier, he rushed it. Went for an offload. Well, that was a bit of a weird-looking pass from Damien Pinot. Didn't look like he put a lot of effort into that one. Louis Bielbiere is too fast. Sees short videos there too. Now going off to the right-hand side. 4 minutes left on the clock. Here comes Ben Tame Funa, deciding he wants to have a bit of a run forward. Said I want a medium rare. Not well done, ma'am. Vive la France, says Reynald. In there as well. And just the scrum now, I believe, for the Bulls. It glitched out a little bit just as we saw Big Ben Tamefuna running through a gap. That gap must have closed pretty quick, and then I believe there was the knock-on. But, again, Ambroise Papier did all the hard work, broke the line, put his team into a good position, threw the ball straight back into the hands of Maxime Luku. So that seems to be the trend at the moment throughout this game, that every time that they almost score here, the Bulls, definitely in the second half, they get close and then they do something that ends up backfiring for them. Maybe not a setup, but also not a win from a marginally better team. Wait, maybe not a setup, but also not a win from a marginally better team. So you're saying Bordeaux aren't winning this game, Casper? Because they are. They currently have a lead of 13 in this contest. The Bulls, they had a lead of 12 at half-time. But Bordeaux have gone with the unanswered points in the second half. But now, back across to the right. Andre Pollard skip pass straight into touch. It has not worked out. And can't spell Bulls without L, says Gumby. And come on, Bulls get possession. They win, but not convincingly, says Casper. Although I think that both of these sides at the start of the game would have said if we can get a win, we get a win. And they'll be more than happy with it. I think that getting 5 points from this game, it helps Bordeaux work their way towards a home final again. Just like they had last year to defend their throne. But yeah, I think that if you told Bordeaux that you were going to be down by 11 points at halftime to then win a game by 13 points, they'd say, happy as. Like, you wouldn't ask for much more in that scenario. Definitely with the fact that the 5 points are on the cards too. Bulls doing what Scotland did against Argentina, says Sean. Yeah, very similar in terms of the points scored in the second half comparison, but now rolling maul here for the Bulls again. Retier does pass it off short to Louis Bielbiere. Fairly convinced by Bordeaux' second half. Sache scrambled Pollard's brain. It was a convincing win. They came back. Well, came down to your place of 1. Come back from a double-digit deficit, says Gumby. Now just the 90 seconds remaining. Another drop ball. Kicked downfield by Creel. Chasing after it is Stravino Jacobs, but Pinot gets back. He's retreating. And manages to use his pace to his advantage. Gets it across to Maxime Luku. Defense is horrible, says Gorilla. Yeah, I don't think either side have actually defended as well as they would have liked. One thing I'll say about the Bulls, though, in this game was actually, kicked down on the full from the Bulls. Their goal line defense was actually solid. Throughout this game, there were 3 or 4 times that they actually held up Bordeaux over the line. But just those 2 yellow cards. And they won the competition last year, says Gumby. One game is not enough to give. Oh, okay, no, I see why you said about them winning the competition last year. They brought the trophy to South Africa to show the Bulls fans that Champions Cup throne, which of course the Bulls would like to get. They did end up in the Challenge Cup last year, the Bulls, which is the last thing that they will want for this season as well. And we have got there our Bulls' worst 8 players, are much worse than the French worst 8 players. It's just a handful of box, not enough, says Albert. Now, big driving tackle on Yancey Fun's Rensburg. You could hear the air getting pretty much just taken out of his lungs. I stopped the clock before it's 53-33, says Robin. And yeah, 2 seconds remaining here. Bordeaux will be happy with this deficit scoreline. And they kick it into touch and win this game. They win it 46 points to 33. A big win for Bordeaux. Last time they came to South Africa at Loftus, they lost by 6. They now go out there, they win by 13, and they pick up the 5 crucial points for the Champions Cup overall standings. I will mention the Bulls, they don't go out of this game empty-handed. They get themselves a bonus point. Louis Bielbiere, man of the match. Yeah, see, I'd either give it to him or Matthew Jalabert for the way that he was able to play in that 10 jersey. Although saying that, I think that Jalabert was quiet in the middle patch of the game. That seemed to be where Bielbiere really came alive a little bit more. And LBB says pleasant tease there. And also we have there Copata Casper, says Gumby. And there as well. But nonetheless, a big win for Bordeaux. We have got the game taking place tomorrow for Union side of things, which is Sharks versus Toulouse. We'll be covering that one on the channel as well, so be sure to check that out. Also alongside that tonight, or today in fact, in 6 minutes time, we've got a game of the sevens taking place between Fiji and New Zealand. So we will be covering that one on the channel. And then also alongside that, there is the matchup afterwards, South Africa versus Great Britain. That has taken place in around 35 minutes time as well. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks, Hamish. Really fun game, this one. Bordeaux turning on in the second half. However, there, well done, Bordeaux. Hamish, you're doing great, says Roof. But yeah, thank you all very much for tuning in. And I will see you all in about 6 minutes time.